you want a Mustang. You want something that's V8, rear-wheel drive, powerful, maybe a manual gearbox. You probably want one of these, but you can't afford it. It's almost 60 grand. So instead, you get one of these, which has actually got a V6 and is an automatic. So, you want a Mustang. You probably want one of these, the newest one. This is the brand new Mustang GT, 5 litre naturally aspirated V8, 6-speed manual gearbox, and a very American soundtrack. Oh, it goes well, it's got so much grunt. So the Mustang's been through loads of iterations over the years, loads of different engine sizes, loads of different variants. They did an EcoBoost, we don't want the EcoBoost. This one, good old fashioned V8 motor. It's 440 horsepower, about 440 foot-pounds of torque. In manual, guys, it will do 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. But the torque is what you really thrive on this car. What we're in. We're at 50 miles an hour, 5th gear. Brush the throttle, that deep bellow. So this one's got the 6-speed manual, and I'm very grateful for it. Ford do also do, and have also done for a little while, a 10-speed auto. 10 speeds! Who needs 10 speeds in a gearbox, especially in a Mustang? Mustangs of days gone by had 4-speed autos. How all of a sudden have we got 10 gears? Anyway, we got a manual, and in the manual you can do some lovely down changing, you can do some lovely heel and toe blips. It's a nice thing to drive. It's all very modern. The new one's got this huge one-piece screen that goes from in front of me into the middle, but you can at least configure it to have some normal clocks. And being a manual, it's an engaging car to drive. Oh, listen to that. The way it just like gurgles and girds its loins when you put your foot down. So 0 to 60 in this car, just over 5 seconds, tops out at a limited 155 miles an hour, 440 horsepower, 440 foot-pounds of torque. I like it a lot, but it's expensive. So this one, with a few options, including the paint job and Magnaride dampers, so it's got adjustable suspension, means that it's pretty much 60 grand. And Mustangs, car of the people in America, they shouldn't be expensive, and it feels like they're getting really expensive. Okay, all cars are getting expensive these days, but 60 grand for a Mustang, I kind of have always thought of the American cars as being the cheap way into a performance car. But 60 grand's a lot of money. And it's so nice having a manual. It kind of suits it. It doesn't feel like a highly strung revvy V8 engine, which it's not, and it's not supposed to be. Red line's just over 7, and it just suits putting it in a slightly higher gear and just using that big wave of torque to get the most out of the engine. Great traction. 275 profile rear tyres, great traction. Oh, the brakes need some pressing though. Wow! Didn't want to stop there, did it? So when you press the little Mustang button, you also get this thing that says track apps. And in here, there's a few random things that you probably wouldn't expect them to put in a Mustang. One of them is a drift brake. If I press that, for track use only, turning drift brake on changes your drive mode to track. Locks the rear wheels when you pull up on the parking brake handle, which is like a quick release, fly off, drift handle. You can perform handbrake turns or initiate a drift by pulling up on the handle and turning the steering wheel at the same time. Thanks very much. Seems bizarre. In a car that comes from a country where they love drag racing, it's like a hydro handbrake, but it's electronic. To put a fly-off drift brake in a Mustang seems weird. I guess Ford have a lot of involvement in drifting now through their RTR brand, but that seems bizarre. So it's got a drift brake. It's got line lock, which locks the front wheels, launch control, everything's got launch control these days, and rev matching. It's also got an acceleration timer where we can time how fast we go from 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100. I should probably try some of this stuff out. Why can't I use line lock? I want to use line lock. Do I need to put it in a different mode? So it's got different modes, here we are. Normal, sport, track, drag strip. Let's do drag strip mode, shall we? Now can I use line lock? I can't. I want to do line lock, I want to do a burnout for track use only. I'm at a track, I promise. When you're higher up in the revs, the throttle response is pretty nice. When you're a bit lower down, it takes a moment or two. When you get to about 4, that's when it really starts to pull. And it does sound good. So the new Mustang 5.0 V8 motor, 6-speed manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, limited slip diff. It's got all the ingredients, and the ingredients add up to be a very nice tasting Mustang meal. But there's a problem. Problem's the price. As we said earlier, this one with its paint and Magna-Ride electronic dampers, it's the best part of 60 grand. And for a Mustang, that's a lot of money. So if you're a Mustang fan, what do you do? Well, if you only got a few grand to spend, you've got to get one of these. The SN-95 came out in 1994 off the back of the Fox body Mustang, and the Fox body was quite a departure from the original Mustang design. This one did away with the square lines of the Fox body and brought in some much softer, smoother, curvier design cues, which some people liked, some people weren't so sure about. It was built from 1994 to 2004, and in 10 years they made 1.5 million of these. 1.5 million Mustangs of one model built in 10 years. That is mad. So there is one slight problem using this car in this video about the alternative to a 5-litre V8 Mustang. This one's not 5 litres, it's 3.8, and it's not a V8, it's a V6. But you might think, oh well, 3.8 litre V6, I'm sure it's powerful. You're wrong. It's got 145 horsepower. It had 145 horsepower when it was new. This car's now 31 years old, which means when you put your foot down in the 4-speed auto, not a lot happens for quite a long time. I don't even know if it's changed down. It did 0 to 60 in just over 10 seconds. Just over 10 seconds to 60 in a Mustang. Oh God. Look at this old gear lever, I love it. This is proper old school American, squishy, soft, lazy motoring. I love it. This one is owned by a really nice guy who's a massive petrol head who's had loads of Mustangs over the years, called Chris. So Chris bought this car a year ago. He paid 800 quid for it. It wasn't road legal. It needed quite a bit of work doing to it, but he's done some of the work. Well, he's done most of the work. It's road legal again. He's fitted some coilovers to it, so it is a bit low. Obviously, the paintwork isn't in pristine condition, but he built it originally to be a Mad Max replica type car. And he did show me a picture of it on the other wheels, the Mad Max wheels that it's kind of supposed to have, and they're much wider, much better offset. It looks proper on those. And obviously, it's left-hand drive. I've driven left-hand drive stuff loads of times before, but I mean, I know it's left-hand drive, but I feel like it's left-hand drive. Like, I'm here, you know, in old Defenders, you have to put your arm on the windowsill. It feels like you have to do that because the throttle pedal is almost in line with the center of the steering wheel, almost. Come on, it's so slow, but I don't care. And the throttle travel is so long to get. Is there a kick down? To get it to kick down, you got to do that. Kick down. This particular one was fitted with highway gears, so it's got a longer diff ratio in the back. So even though it wasn't the quickest car from new, they've managed to make it a bit slower by fitting a longer diff ratio to the back. So this is the V6 one. Obviously, it is the least powerful one in the range. This was the entry-level model, and actually, Ford, when they brought it out in '94, they aimed the V6 at the car that your mother or your sister could drive, and apparently, on the front cover of the brochure for the V6 model, there was a picture of a lady's foot on the accelerator, pressing it gently and calmly. The next model up was the GT, and that was a 5.0 V8 motor. That one had a picture of a bloke ramming his foot down into the gas pedal hard, using it proper. After that, they did the Cobra. That was a 5-litre V8, had a bit more power. And then there was another special edition, the Cobra R. That's probably the one you've seen, the red one with the big body kit and the big wings. That was a bit more powerful again. They did some Bullet versions, they did some Mach 1 versions, they did loads of special editions. But this is the cheapest one. And if you want a Mustang and you've only got a few grand to spend, this is the only one you're gonna get. And okay, it's not fast, it's slow. I'm not gonna bother doing a 0 to 60 because genuinely, I don't think we've got enough straight road in front of us. Cars are all about how they make you feel. And for 2.5 grand, which is what this car is up for sale for currently, you could go and buy some boring run around city eco box that does 50 mpg and doesn't ever let you down, but it's got no character, it's got no charm, it's got no appeal. Oh, round a corner. It's not the kind of car, if I'm being honest, that inspires you to push it around corners, but it's not about that. It's just about slushing your way along at 50, 60 miles an hour and being in a Mustang. And obviously, compared to the new Mustang, the 5.0 V8 rear-wheel drive manual gearbox, it wouldn't get anywhere near to touching it in any measurable metric of car performance or economy or comfort or ride handling or anything. But that one's 60 grand and this is 2.5 grand. And if you want a Mustang, just go out and get one of these. Okay, there'll be faster ones, there'll be faster cars everywhere on the British roads, but it's a 2.5 grand Mustang. Just go and buy one. It's just a great car to drive around in. I've only been in it for half an hour. I love it. Come on, car, put your foot down. There we go, change down. Get that kick down pedal. Listen to her purr. Corner, brakes, brakes, brakes. Whoa, brakes, questionable. Steering, questionable. Handling, questionable. Acceleration, not very existent. I don't care. It redlines at 4,750. That just sums it up. Lazy American V6 Mustang. So a big shout out to Chris for lending us his car today. Genuinely, I thought this car was going to be horrendous. That's not what I feel about it at all. It's got so much character. You're in a Mustang. It just makes you feel different. And for that, I love it. And for that, it's worth every penny. If you want a Mustang, you've got a couple of grand to spend, go and buy one of these or go and buy this one. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you can think of any other cars you want to see on our awesome affordable car videos, drop us a comment. Otherwise, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, if I ever get there.